Let's now move to the ADC leadership legal tussle, where the Court of Appeal today has barred INEC from recognizing the David Mark-led ADC congresses. In a split decision of 2-1, the Court of Appeal here in Abuja today affirmed the judgment restraining the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from recognizing or participating in any state congresses organized by committees appointed by the David Mark-led caretaker leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. In that lead verdict delivered by Justice Okon Abang, the three-member panel of justices said it found no reason to set aside the restraining order by the Federal High Court Abuja, which issued against the David Mark ADC leadership on 29th of April. Let's speak to this matter and what this means altogether. Interestingly, I have two lawyers representing the party, Mr. Ridwan Akpanachi on virtually with us, and Barrister Kalu, who is also a counsel to the ADC. Thanks so much. He's live for us here in our Abuja studio. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Shehu, for having me today.
This is a loss to the David Mark leadership, isn't it?
Not at all. Not at all, Shehu. There is nowhere in the judgment of Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik,
the trial court,
at the trial court, that touched on the leadership of David Mark. The matter bordered solely on the congresses conducted by David Mark at the state level, not on the leadership of David Mark. So when people say the court bars or directed INEC to de-recognize David Mark-led executive, there is no such pronouncement by the trial court and the Court of Appeal today. There is none. So it has nothing to do with the leadership of David Mark. It's only bordered on the congresses conducted by David Mark at the state level.
So tell us, the party at the leadership of the party, which is David Mark, at the national level, has a right to superintend over the congresses at the state. Is that right?
Sure.
They set a panel to go and conduct those congresses.
Sure.
But the grievances of those who went to court, who took this matter to court, is that INEC should not recognize, or INEC should not monitor, as though they think that the congresses as it was conducted at the time was illegal and there was a breach.
No, that was
the contention.
That was their contention at the trial court, which was affirmed by Honorable Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik, which was erroneously made, because Joyce Abdul-Malik wrongly interpreted the provisions of the constitutions of ADC and gave exclusive powers to state ESCO or the state SWC as the organ of the party that has the powers to conduct state congresses. But Shehu, you are a journalist. You can read and you can write. Please, after today's program, look for the constitution of ADC and see whether there is any provision in the constitution of ADC that empowers the state working committee or the state ESCO the powers to conduct state congresses, so that you can come back to this station and then enlighten Nigerians on the express provisions of the constitution of ADC.
So you are faulting the decision of Justice Joyce, and the appellate court has upheld the decision of Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik, and you said that on those two instances the courts were wrong.
So I said on this program that there is nowhere, there is no provision in the constitution of ADC that empowers the state working committee or the state executive committee the powers to conduct state congresses. There is no provision at all. At best, what the constitution of the ADC provides, the powers given to the state working committee or the state ESCO, is the power to prepare agenda. I don't know, you just listen, to prepare agenda for state congresses. There is no such provision that empowers the state working committee or the state ESCO of the party to conduct state congresses. Let me ask you, because you are well versed in the activities of INEC. If a court says it is the powers of the state congress or of the state working committee or the state ESCO of a party to conduct state congresses, so who communicates to INEC? Is it the state chairman or the national chairman and national secretary of the party?
All right. Give me a moment. Give me a moment, sir. Let me bring Mr. Opanachi here. Mr. Opanachi, give us an understanding. By the verdict of the trial court and the appellate court, it then meant that every congresses that were conducted by the David Mark-led leadership is now null and void. Is that right?
That is not true, Sheung. I think the matter was instituted even before the congresses were held. And the pronouncement of Honorable Justice Joyce Abmalik was that the power to conduct state congresses belongs to the state executive committee of the party, and that INEC should not attend any state congress organized by the party without or not through the state executive. And we appealed against that judgment to the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal, in its own wisdom today, affirmed that judgment. And to us as a lawyer, we believe that that judgment is against the law, is against the constitution of ADC, and it's against the established principle as regards courts not in the position to interfere with internal affairs of a political party. So we are going to discuss the judgment with our clients and seek, for their, instruction as to whether to proceed to the Court of Appeal or abide by the judgment. That is the beauty of our judiciary, our judicial system. We still have another opportunity to go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has maintained this position over 5 decades now, that no court in Nigeria has any right, has any power to interfere with internal affairs of the political party. And this matter borders purely on the governance of the ADC, particularly at the state level. And it must be made clear that when you are talking about a political party is one. The state, the local government, zonal bodies that you have, is just administrative convenience. The life of a political party rests in the National Working Committee, rests in the National Executive Council meeting, rests in the National Convention. So it is the national body that controls the party. And when you look at the Article 19 of ADC Constitution, it vested in the National Working Committee and National NEC in particular, NEC meeting in particular, to dissolve any organ of the party, be it the National Working Committee, be it the State Executive Committee or anything. And when you talk about State Congress, the State Congress is more than the State Executive Committee. The State Executive Committee is just an arm, a micro arm of the State Congress. The State Congress is beyond just the State Executive Committee.
Mr. Opanachi, just for a moment. One of the fundamental questions that a lot of the supporters of the ADC are worried about is how this impact on the running and the chances on the running of the party and the chances of the party or whether or not the party is going to be Atiku Abubakar or Rotimi Amaechi is going to be on the ballot. But we saw Mr. Bolaji, just a moment, Mr. Bolaji, just a moment, Mr. Bolaji Abdullah in a statement earlier today, just after the judgment had come out to say that the party has already commenced the process of appealing the judgment, which, according to him, we respectfully disagree with and consider to be legally unsustainable. He went further to say, quote, "We also note the dissenting judgment of the presiding justice, which in our view more accurately reflects the settled position of the law and the party's position. We have also seen from the office, the media office of Mr. Atiku Abubakar, where he's trying to douse the tension And Mr. Atiku Abubakar's office had said, we remain respectful of the judiciary through the statement written by Mr. Frank Shaibu, the Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication to Atiku Abubakar. He says, quote, we remain respectful of the judiciary and have already instructed our legal team to approach the Supreme Court for a definitive determination of the issues arising from the judgment. That is the proper constitutional path, and we have absolute confidence in the judiciary process. Let no supporter of the ADC lose sleep. Let no Nigerian who believes in the restoration of our country be discouraged. The struggle to rescue Nigeria has never been about one courtroom or one judgment. It is a movement born out of the collective desire of millions of Nigerians for competent leadership, economic recovery, national unity, and the restoration of hope, end of quote. So fundamentally, there are those who are afraid that this has a consequential effect on the chances of the party at the poll and the running of the affairs of the party as led by Senator David Mark.
Are not informed, but those who are informed are not disturbed.
Let me allow you to
and
continue.
I don't think there's any tension with the leadership of the party under the distinguished Senator David Mark, and it has nothing to do with the primaries conducted by ADC. It solely has to do with the state's Congress. And the primaries conducted by ADC is direct primaries. It wasn't indirect primaries that the state Congress would be involved. It wasn't by consensus across the board. The ADC conducted direct primaries. And the power to conduct primaries, whether direct, indirect, or consensus, belongs to the National Working Committee. And this case has nothing to do with the leadership of the National Working Committee. It has nothing to do with the leadership of ADC at the national level. So there's nothing to panic about. There's no tension at all. I think you should not even read it, meaning into it that this statement is meant to douse tension. It is meant to clarify issues and make those who are not informed to be informed. So there's nothing to be afraid here. We are going to the Supreme Court, and by the grace of God, the Supreme Court, who has given a consistent judgment as regards the fact that a court cannot interfere with the internal affairs of a party, will have an opportunity to restate its position that has been, maintained over 5 decades ago. So there's no doubt, no tension at all. ADC is on the right course. Our candidates are not affected. A presidential candidate is not affected. All the candidates are not affected. ADC is going on with the election.
Let me, Mr. Kalu, there are those who will say it's part of the consequences of some of these legal issues that this is just one out of several, the plethora of legal battle that the party is facing. This is just one. Are you worried about this plethora of cases and how it impacts on the chances of the ADC?
Apart from today's judgment, the other matter we have is the Nafi Bala Gombe matter, which is before Justice Lifo. But Shehu, just last week, Justice Liman Suleiman delivered a judgment and held that David Mark and other members of NWC were duly elected on the 29th day of July 2025, which was monitored by INEC. INEC filed processes in support of ADC's position that David Mark and others were duly elected. So, having gotten that judgment in favor of ADC, what else do we need? There is a clear pronouncement today by the Federal High Court that David Mark and others were duly elected. And that judgment is still subsisting. That judgment has not been set aside.
But you said earlier that there is nothing about this judgment that has any that mention whether or not the David Mark. But you are just saying now that he says the judgment states that.
I'm talking about a judgment delivered by Justice Liman.
Not in the court of the one led by
Malik.
yeah.
Malik was purely on the issue of the state
So
congresses.
you lost one matter, you won another.
No, it's not losing.
This one at the appeal court is you did not win this one.
No.
This one was against the party.
No, hold on.
David Mark.
Hold on. One thing about political parties is the national leadership of the party is intact. If today the party decides to dissolve all state structure of the party and constitute an interim leadership of the party, they are still within the realm of law and the provisions of the constitution of the party. So at the moment, the party is still moving on course. The news going on social media that the primaries conducted by ADC is affected. How is it affected? One, the national leadership of the party conducted the primary election, and by the current provisions of the Electoral Act 2026, it is either by direct primary or by consensus. And ADC adopted a direct primary. Right. And what is direct primary? A process where all the members
of the party
at the ward level will come and vote.
Mr. Kalu.
And there is no in the process leading to the primary, the presidential primary, and other primaries.
Mr. Kalu.
No state ESCO participated.
Mr. Kalu, we need to go now. Mr. Rudwan, just in 20 seconds, you are saying that ADC members should stay calm. But given all of these legal issues, why should they? Just in 30 seconds.
And they should because there is just like my colleague said, there is a subsisting judgment of the Federal High Court that has already settled the issue of national leadership of ADC, and the primaries that was conducted by the national leadership of ADC. And the judgment today has nothing to do with the national leadership of ADC. It has to do with the power to conduct state congresses. That is also, they shouldn't panic. All these cases are meant to distract ADC. But ADC leadership is not distracted. And we congratulate and salute the national chairman of ADC for being firm and consistent.
Thank you, sir. We need to go. We're totally out of time.
Seconds.
No. We are totally out of time.
2 seconds.
Totally out of time.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds.
Go ahead. There is no time, sir.
So, the judiciary should allow political parties to participate in 2027 general election. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's our show for tonight, everyone. And thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okemale. God bless Nigeria.